Hey everybody, Shell Brodnax here with an episode of Stager Talk, fabulous RESACON Speakers Edition. I'm super stoked today, talking to Michelle Minch, who I would say, if we were going to give you another accolade, Queen of Warehousing and Inventory Spaces. How does that sound?
There you go. All right, sure, I'll take it.
I'll take it. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm really great. We have got such an amazing 2024 planned, with COVID and everything happening all these years where stagers felt a lot of stuff in the beginning. We felt them kind of in the middle and the end. So this year, it's like we're back. We're going to launch some new programs. RESACON is just going to be spectacular. Food is amazing. We're going to release our menus in a few days. And so everybody knows what it is that they're getting. And then, of course, we have amazing just sessions and speakers. And you've spoken, you spoke at the very first RESACON. You've been to, I think, I don't think you've missed a RESACON. And our first one was in 2009.
Correct.
And you've spoken
at everyone.
Almost every one of them, at least half of them, if not more.
Hand me a microphone and I'll have something to say.
I know. And I remember the first year, your first session at RESACON with Kathy Nilsson. It was like, I'm having to throw microphones at y'all going, come on, we can do this, people. Let's get it going. Get on the stage, make it happen. And so much has happened since then. I mean, it's just amazing.
Everything's really developed and gotten so much better, I think.
Yeah, I would say, back in the day, before RESA, there really wasn't an industry per se. It was more of everybody's kind of doing their own thing. And now we have an actual industry where we have working parts of different organizations and service providers and members that all work together to make an actual functioning industry. So I love it.
Right. I'm so happy that we met all those years ago on Active Rain.
Active Rain. That is right. Gosh, that was just so, it seems like it's like another lifetime ago, but
it was.
It really was, because I mean, I know we don't do anything the same as we did back then. And I know your business, I've watched just blossom and grow and just morph into this, just an amazing little empire you got going on in there in SoCal. Let me ask you some questions. You're going to talk about warehousing. And so I'm going to read the title here for you because I can't remember it all.
Wholesale purchasing.
Wholesale, retail, and everything in between. How to supercharge your inventory buying.
Correct.
So for anybody who's wanting to learn about wholesale inventory purchasing, warehousing, this is the person to learn it from. Can you tell everybody what was the point? I know the story, but you can retell it. The story that when you decided, you know what? Yeah, I'm not renting anymore. I can be putting this to my own good use, and I'm going to start investing in inventory.
So I started my business in 2006. I only used rental furniture from two different rental furniture companies who will remain unnamed. I don't want to cast aspersions. But for 9 years, I used rental furniture. And at the end of that 9 years, I was paying about $200,000 per company to rent furniture for all of my projects. And I was able to make rental furniture work in houses up to $10 million, because I augmented it with artwork, accessories, lamps, plants, etc. of my own. And I had a small warehouse to house that stuff. And then in 2015, one of the furniture rental companies lost their minds. They brought in a new manager from FedEx who didn't understand the staging industry at all. And I'm not even sure he understood the furniture rental industry, but anyhow, they decided to raise everybody's rates. They changed the way that they worked with stagers, and it was I could no longer be competitive at the new pricing level that they had raised their rates to, plus the additional cost of delivery. And I mean, I personally felt like they killed the goose that laid the golden egg, because I was easy to work with. I knew exactly what I needed to do. I just sent them a list, easy peasy. But anyhow, so they decided that they were going to try and squeeze me for more money. And I said, that's it. The next day, I went to a local bank based on recommendations by my CPA. I got a line of credit. I hired a commercial real estate agent to find me a warehouse. And she found me an 8,000 square foot warehouse. And I signed the lease, and then I had to fill the warehouse. And I remember when I first got that 8,000 square foot warehouse, I was like, there is no way I'm ever going to be able to fill this warehouse. And I need to start looking for other stagers that want to sublease from me, or, what am I going to do? Well, it took about maybe 4 months and that warehouse was full. And I've been going ever since. So
Yeah, that it's just an awesome story. And I remember when all this was happening, because prior, when I got into the industry in like 2002, and the rental furniture companies, their minimum was 6 months.
right.
And I was at a different organization, but was having these conversations trying to get them interested in renting to stagers. So we got them to go down to a 3 month. And then over time, it was like, okay, we can get them to go down even further, do 30-month rentals and offer special deals and let us, work with your reps and all that. And then these guys come in and just undid it all. It was maddening, maddening.
Right. It was very frustrating because I felt like we had a great system
Yeah.
going. And I would have continued renting furniture probably till the end of, until I retired, because the delivery cost was so low. I had one employee, a stager who helped me on bigger houses, and it was really easy, but then they didn't want my money anymore. So
Guess it wasn't green anymore. I don't know. It's
not
it's
green
mind
enough.
boggling when you look back at it. And it's like, well, that was
Uh-huh.
a $200,000 really bad decision.
Right.
But anyway, as you say, onward and upward. We're moving on. Onward and
Uh-huh.
upward. We're going to talk a lot of Michelle quotes that I've learned over the years. So I got a lot of them that I like. So onward and upward, we're moving on from that. And now you've flourished 8 years later. And I'll tell you, you've talked at RESACON numerous times about all types of things, marketing, whatever, sales, warehousing. I think part of the thing with warehouse or with buying wholesale inventory, people are, if you don't know anything about it, it can seem very overwhelming. But there
Hmm.
are definitely things that those tip top secrets that you are going to help people with that RESACON, that is going to help them with that journey. Not to be so, it's a big chunk to bite off to, but number one, just to be sure what it is that you're doing. And then number two, to be able to shop smart, to
Right.
make sure you're buying pieces that are classic pieces that can go into different areas, and not trying to buy something that is just so very specific that you might only be able to use it in one type of architecture or project.
Correct. Yeah, I actually was going through my inventory program, looking at some of my inventory the other day, and there's stuff in there that I started buying in 2015 that I'm still using. And um, typically furniture will pay for itself after the first 6 months of use. So I've gotten like 8 years of use. That furniture's been making me money over and over and over and over and over again. And it's held up well. So um I didn't really know what I was doing when I first started doing it. I made a lot of mistakes. And so I feel confident that I can teach people how to not to make those mistakes again.
Yeah, I love that. It's really true. When you get the best coaching from people who's been there and done that and have gone
Hmm.
through it all, and they know
Right.
what to look out for and whatnot. And I just think it's imperative. I mean, if you're looking at getting into anything wholesale, you have a class. Is it finished yet? Is it coming out, or am I not supposed to talk about that? Something
It's
coming soon?
I launched it, I've unlaunched it, and it will be coming out again, and it'll include a coaching component in
Awesome.
it as well. So,
Beautiful. All right. So Michelle's got new stuff on the horizon for you. So we will definitely be checking back with her when
yay.
she's ready for that. Yay, everybody. But she's got to get yourself educated, because let me tell you, 22 years ago when I got into this industry, the wholesale market would ignore stagers. Stagers could not get these accounts. Number one, 2 decades ago, they definitely had all these giant minimums where you had to spend $25,000 someplace just to do an
Right.
opening order. And so a lot of that was cost prohibitive for stagers. And I beat down their door every single year for like 6, 7 years. And then finally light bulbs went off and we opened it up and then we formed the buying group. And now they know, any stager can go in now and buy from these retailers. With the
Right.
buying group, we've made it so we reduce a lot of the minimums or get rid of them. And we also can give you some additional discount off the wholesale or their designer pricing as well. But I think it's key to also be able to have so many different options to be able to choose from.
Am
With
I able to mention one of the
Yeah,
vendors?
yeah,
So Alex,
yeah,
their
I love
deal
them.
is incredible because they're giving you 25% off the wholesale price. Plus, if you're in the RESA buying group, they're giving you an additional 5% off. So it's Alex is an incredible deal, and their furniture's at a good price point, especially for newer stagers who are just starting out.
Absolutely.
So
We love them. They're one of the best. With your
mhm.
inventory, do you find that you most of the brands that you buy from, do you have just like five that you use consistently, or is it 10 or is it 20, or what does that look like for who you're buying
Um,
from?
well, one of the secrets of inventory buying is to try and buy as much as you can from one vendor or, just a handful of vendors, because the higher your buy, the better the deal you're going to get from them. You might get special freight deals, or you might get uh, a higher tier of discount in your purchasing. So if you, a lot of people make the mistake of saying, oh, I like this piece from this vendor and this piece from this vendor, where if they could find something similar at, just one vendor and spend as much money as they can at that one vendor, um, they're going to get much better deals.
Yeah,
But I probably have between 5 and 10 vendors that I buy from regularly. Some of them, they're just not going to give you a better deal no matter how much you spend.
yeah,
And
yeah,
some of them, because I've been doing it for so long, they give me a better pricing tier because of my lifetime spend versus my annual spend. So it's, it varies.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
a lot of them are in the RESA buying group. Some of them aren't. Some of them I wish they were, but I know how hard you've tried to incorporate um, these vendors. So, their loss. I
There's
think it's their
stalking
loss.
laws, Michelle. There's just stalking laws. So I have
Right.
to be cognizant that I'm not going to get arrested for beating down somebody's door, but I do try. So, but
Yes.
we are always trying to add new vendors into the buying group as well. We've got some new things coming up. Hopefully we'll be able to announce at RESACON, but just so many things going in the pot right now that I just wish that I could talk about, but I can't. But we can still talk about wholesale buying and inventory purchasing. What do you recommend? I know the answers to this, but for everybody else, if somebody's just starting out, because you already
Mhm.
touched on it, warehouse space. If you're going to go out and you're thinking about getting warehouse space,
Right.
what are the like top three things that somebody should consider when they're looking for something like that?
Um, Ease of access, meaning a big roll up door. And if you can get a space that has a loading dock, that's a distinct advantage in terms of receiving deliveries. It costs you a little bit more when they have to send a truck with a lift gate, unless you're in a warehouse complex where somebody has a forklift and they'll come unload the truck for you. But I would say ease of access. I would say high ceilings, 18 feet minimum, so that you can go, put in 12-foot pallet racking and then still have sufficient space from the ceiling. Um, let's see, what else would I say? I mean, those are the two biggest ones. I'm in a warehouse space now where I'm in a large warehouse complex, and it's run by a corporation of people who really don't care about me and my business. And I was much happier when I was in my old warehouse space where it was a single landlord. So, that's something to consider. I like in Southern California, we have our office is air conditioned, but our warehouse space is not climate controlled. We just use big fans. It would be cost prohibitive to pay for air conditioning such a huge volume of space with 20-foot ceilings. So I would make sure that the ceiling is insulated. And that's something that normally you can request that the landlord do before you move in. Once you move in, you're not going to get anything out of your landlord. After,
Yeah.
but if you can demand all kinds of things before you move in, and hopefully you'll get them.
And what about looking for a commercial real estate agent? Anything specialty that you should be looking for someone like that?
I was really fortunate. I stumbled on somebody. I went to look for a space. I went to look at a space that had been advertised, and the person who was the agent for that space said, "This space isn't going to work for you, but I can show you other spaces." And she's been fabulous over the years. I've referred her to other people, but I would look for somebody who's enthusiastic and hungry, and not somebody who's just going to send you a handful of links and not really like I feel like Julie, my commercial agent, um, enthusiastically negotiates on my behalf to make sure that I get the best deal. So I would, talk to somebody and just make sure that you don't get a dead fish who's just there to collect the commission.
Yeah, it's so important. She sounds like somebody who was more of a collaborator. She was wanting to really
Yes,
collaborate with your business and help you and be part of the team to find the solution, as opposed to, like you said, just sending links.
right. So, and sorry, I'm gonna sneeze.
Bless you.
um, there's a website called LoopNet, LOOPNET.com. And that's where most commercial agents list and landlords list properties that are available for commercial lease. So
Yeah.
it's a good place to look.
What can do you have any tips for somebody who's considering this just to lower their stress level? Like, can you picture this? You go back, you're doing something for the very, very first time, all that just anxiety that you're having and doubts. What's the best way for somebody just to get through it and not
Hire me.
struggles?
Hire me to mentor them through the process. Um, I would recommend that they find somebody um, nearby who they trust, who has a good business brain, who's been through it before, who can kind of hold their hand and direct them. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a stager. It could be anybody, any business person who they know that could, say, "Oh no, that's a big mistake," or "That looks great. Move forward."
Yeah.
So,
I think most of the time when people make these big changing decisions in their business, and they're so trepidatious about it, it works out. It really does end up working out for the best.
and
From
honestly, it's usually you're signing like a 3-year lease. It's not a marriage. You're not going to have to get a divorce. You just move as soon as you can if it turns out not to be a good experience. But I would something else that I would say that's important is safe, secure parking for your
oh
trucks.
yeah,
Um, that would be another thing that I would put on the list of important factors. But it's a warehouse. It's not a spouse. You're not going to have to give them half of your income or your real property or whatever. So, and often you can find somebody to sublease it from you if it's really a bad situation.
no, there you
So,
go. There you go. I would like for me, the exciting part for me would be setting it all up, getting your systems down in the warehouse, figuring out all your systems, building
right.
building up. That's the stuff that I love to do. I just love it. Just because then you see that you made all the right decisions. And the ones
Right.
that don't work out, you get to change them and fix them. And it's that way you just have it the way that you want it to be able to run for your business. I think that would
Uh,
be super exciting.
I made a big mistake when I during the pandemic, my landlord forced me to move out of my first big warehouse because they wanted to use the warehouse for e-commerce. I hadn't done anything wrong. I had always paid my rent on time. I was an excellent tenant. But they decided they wanted to take over the space for their business. So I was forced to move during the pandemic. And I made the mistake of, I thought I would be saving money if I moved all my furniture over to the new warehouse, then moved all my pallet racking that I already had set up over to the new warehouse, and then put the furniture on the my old pallet racking. And what I should have done was just gotten all new pallet racking, or used but new to me pallet racking, had it set up and moved the furniture immediately onto the new pallet racking, and then sold the old pallet racking. It would have been a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
less stressful. And it took me a lot longer to move and to organize the new warehouse, um, because I did it that way. So um, that if I ever have to move again, I would definitely do it that way.
Yeah, that's smart. Those are the things that you don't think of until you're doing it and you're like,
Right.
uh-oh.
I thought I was being so smart, and then I was like, why is this taking so long? It was horrible.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Did you change
So
any of your the layout or the way that you stored the furniture when you moved from one house to the other? Did you kind of keep those similar setups?
um it was pretty similar because the system was, we'd done it so many times over and over and over again that it was pretty efficient. Um, so we organized it in a very similar manner, except in my old warehouse, I had a mezzanine. I had about a 1,200 square foot mezzanine. So I had all my pillows and bedding up there. And now it's, on the, not on the floor, but it's on one
Ground level.
level,
Yeah.
and um, uh, up in pallet racks. So,
I remember when you built your mezzanine in the old one, and I was like, oh my God, that's so stinking smart.
well,
It's brilliant.
if you can legally build one, you're paying for the cost of building the mezzanine, but you're not paying any more per square foot for your warehouse space.
Right.
So, once you pay off the cost of the mezzanine, then it's free. It's free extra warehouse space.
Do you have to remove
So
that when you move?
I did. I sold it actually.
Oh, wow. That's
Somebody came and took it down, and they took all the lumber, and you can't really reuse lumber in the United States for residential construction. So they shipped it all down to Mexico and
wow.
used it to build houses in Mexico.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All these little things you just don't think of. I cannot express to everybody enough. If you are interested in getting into this side of staging, warehouse inventory, you've got to get to RESACON and see Michelle's session. We're going to do a tour at Market on Sunday. So we end on Saturday and we're going to go do a tour so you can take part in that as well. Get your tickets today if you haven't gotten them, resaconvention.com. Michelle, do you recommend RESACON? Yes or no?
Oh my God, I love RESACON. It's the best because first of all, the getting to see people who I in talk to every day on Facebook. Um, I I love meeting those people and seeing those people and hanging out with those people, um, and meeting new people. Learning from the sessions. The food is always incredible. Um,
Oh my God. Yeah. You're going to be in a food coma, y'all, because we got breakfast, you got coffee
right.
breaks, you've got beautiful lunches, and then our big awards dinner, which is always a really killer meal.
Right. The hotel is beautiful.
Yeah.
Everything is really, really, really well organized.
Thank you.
It's very rare that there's any kind of glitch, and if there is, it's immediately dealt with. And it's like for the most part, most people wouldn't know that there was an
Right.
so in terms of professionalism, it's by far the best staging conference that you could attend. And I'll be there. So
Facts. And I appreciate that. I tell you, we had a good team. Last year's RESACON, I will tell you, I walked away and I said to myself, I've got one hell of a team. I don't even need to be here. And it can just run. That everybody has their roles, everybody knows what to do. The volunteer force is amazing.
it,
They've just really, I'm so grateful the team that we have at HQ, because everybody really takes their jobs and they own it. You know what I mean by that? They just own
right.
it. They just are just
No,
just
everybody does a fantastic job, and it's just you can go and enjoy the conference and not have to worry about, oh, is this going to happen? Or and the conference is in the hotel that most of the people are staying in. So you can go out and get a drink. You can go out to dinner with people, and you don't have to leave the hotel ever.
yeah.
And I want to say something about the temperature. People always complain, Las Vegas is so hot in the summer. If you go to RESACON, you never leave the hotel. So you're in air conditioned comfort the entire time. As a matter of fact, you might want to bring a sweater because some people it's a little bit too cool. But I found myself, yes, Joanna said she goes outside to warm up. Every
Yeah,
once
so
in
do
a while I
we.
would go outside. So it's not too hot to go to Las Vegas in the summer to
Yeah.
go to RESACON. And even the market, you can cross from building to building. Once you get there, you can cross from building to building and never have to go outside, because there's bridges between all the buildings. So um,
And if you
that's
did, it's 50 feet.
right,
You can walk 50 feet. Anybody can walk
right.
50.
And they're giving you free bottles of ice water. So
There you have it. It's definitely not too hot for people. And we used to have RESACON on the strip. Remember TI? We did first eight
yes,
8 or 9 years there at TI. It was
yes, I
wonderful.
remember.
They had amazing service. I loved their people. They were my boots on the ground. We had just such a great relationship with them. We
Uh-huh.
just grew out of the facility.
Yeah, they couldn't accommodate how many people
Yeah, with
were.
the growth over the years.
How many people are you expecting this year at RESACON, do you think?
Well, it's hard to say expecting. So pre-COVID, we were at 450
Right,
consecutively for a couple years, and then
right.
did virtual, and we still got close to that. But then when we went back in person, we got about half that. So
Uh-huh.
we're thinking we're going to tip more about the 350 to 400 mark.
That's
Because
awesome.
everybody, we're just pushing for tickets. If you've tried another event out there and you're unsure, try RESACON. Come back if you haven't been to RESACON in a long time, especially if
Uh-huh.
you've been in the industry for a very long time. So much has changed over the years. Like Michelle said, we've got the new facility at the M Resort. There's no riffraff. It is off the strip, so you don't need to go anywhere, because everything is just self-contained. If you want to go to an outside restaurant, they've got restaurants there. You want room service, they got the room service. They've also got the Raiders, so it is the home of
Yeah,
Reese and the
last
home of
year
the
I
Raiders.
ran into the quarterback for the Raiders in the hotel elevator.
I
I
heard.
was like, "Who is this handsome man?" Um,
I talked to one of them too. I can't remember who it was, but they're very, very nice guys out there. But we had a really a good time. The staff is
Joey
incredible.
Joey Garofalo, is that his name?
I think it was Garofalo is the last
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
Um, but I do have one complaint about RESACON. I don't think it's long enough. I
Oh,
would love for it to be another day longer to be able to spend more time with my buds.
yeah.
But
Well, you get Xanax flown in and handed out to everybody, and we'll consider it.
okay.
The difference is this year we've started doing pre-RESACON sessions. So if somebody wants to come in on the first day where we're networking and you're coming in early, we do have some educational sessions that are in addition to the regular sessions that'll be announced soon. But yeah, it's a good time. And the Home Staging Industry Awards. Michelle, let's tell everybody and reminisce how many, we used to have just Professional Stager of the Year over all of it.
Mhm.
Those awards have you won?
2. I think 2014 or 2015 and maybe 2004-ish, 2005, something
Somewhere
like
around
that.
there. I'm telling
Yes.
you. Yeah, she's doing it. So this chick does it all, everybody. She's award winning. She's got good advice. She's very smart. She can just help you and mentor you just along whatever path that you are on. So I certainly appreciate your spirit and your generosity to the industry. So thank you on behalf of everybody.
It's my pleasure.
All
And
right.
right back at you.
Thank you. All right, everybody, if you're on that fence, I tell you every single year, jump off that fence, run to your computer, do not walk, resaconvention.com, clickety clack clack, get your ticket today. Prices go up. Early bird pricing is till February 13th. After that, we're going to go to the general pricing. Still way worth it, but why not save a few bucks, right? All right, everybody, until next time, Michelle Minch, thank you so much. Tell everybody else, happy staging. Bye.
Love, love.